All right, people, officially welcome. And my name's Mark Mannering. Some of you might know who I am. Some of you who do know probably have forgotten and don't want to remember. But as you know there from the program, the talk's on this thing called cloud computing. And it's very relevant today, isn't it? Especially today with the cloud just coming down and just pouring down and making us all wet. Okay, so yeah, Mark Mannering from Class Training. What we do, we're based in Albury. Obviously, we do lots of training, computer training, IT courses, and so on. And we're sort of not with any particular focus. A lot of people come to us as the first port of call, saying, "Oh, I don't know what to do here, and what do I do there?" And we say, "Oh, well, you need this and you need that. Go down to Harvey Norman or Officeworks or whatever, and get the software and the computer, and then hopefully they'll come back and do some training." So, we're coming from that point of view. And over the last 20 years of being operating now, so 1994 we started, obviously seeing a lot of changes in the way that we work with computers and so on. And not just from the point of view of all the whiz-bang features and the latest stuff coming up and all the rest of it, but the way, the approach of how you do something and the change in the way that things are stored. A lot of aspects of what you can cover and so on. So we're going to try and give you a broad perspective of this thing called cloud computing, give you some ways to work out, is it relevant, and do I have to be scared by it? Am I going to be forced into it? Indirectly you might be. Okay, so just got to be ready and so on. All right. So the usual sort of PowerPoint thingy, and that's gone berserk now, hasn't it? No, hasn't. So what I'll do, I'll be talking about what is cloud computing, obviously, some specific examples and uses. I'll give you some live demos of things that are totally cloud, things that aren't totally cloud, and what the differences are. Also, obviously, we'll talk about advantages and disadvantages, the pros and cons of all of that. Questions for you to answer and think about as to, gee, how do I work out whether we need to go this thing called cloud? Or if someone comes along to try and sell it to me because of their quota and they need to meet some sort of a target, they're going to sound fairly convincing. But can I tell them where to go nicely? Okay, and finally, we'll talk about a bit of a summary as well. And at the end, I'll just give you a quick, KPMG did a survey in 2010, which is probably a bit old now, but about larger businesses and companies and what they thought about cloud computing and what they're using it for and so on. Okay. Obviously, as we go today, just put your hand up and say, look, I don't understand that, or what about this as well. So first up, what is cloud computing? It's not an old term. Okay, it's not an old term, it's just a buzzword. It's nothing really new. The term cloud is probably, I don't know, the last 5, 6, 8 years, probably, around about, relatively. But we've all been doing some sort of cloud computing for the last 15 years or so. Okay, we've been doing our online banking, and we've been doing Gmail, or using email up in the provided by someone else as well. Okay, so cloud computing, if you want a definition, you can't sleep at night wondering. It's just using the internet to run applications and manage data that's stored off-site. Okay, so if you go the full-blown definition or meaning of what it is, you've got programs you're using and data that you're accessing up in the cloud there somewhere. Okay, online, and online banking is a good example. Okay, you don't have any program on your computer as such managing your banking and doing the transfers and so on, and the data certainly not on there. Okay, although you can download your bank statement and get like a copy of that month's transactions. You can do that. So that's like a backup. I'll come back to that. You normally do this all through your web browser, like Internet Explorer or Google Chrome or whatever it might be. And also the other big thing is you can do this with your mobile devices and apps. Okay, so you can access the data or whatever it is through your actual browser on the iPad or tablet, but also there's a lot of dedicated apps that can be provided, which makes it a bit easier, quicker, although all the features aren't there, obviously. Okay, and people started to say, look, you're a bit crazy if you go straight for the cloud, because don't just do it because it's the latest thing, and the business down the road has got it. So we'll come back to those sorts of issues very soon as well. Normally you pay as you go, as you might know, so you pay a monthly subscription. It's sometimes called utility computing, like utilities, electricity, phone. Okay, that's all provided by some service provider up there. All of your voicemail and all of your telephone calls are stored up there, so it's very similar, just been extended to computer programs and so on. Okay, now I won't go through this. There's 3 levels of it: infrastructure as a service, and software as a service, and platform as a service. So everybody understand all those things? That's good. Okay, just move on. That was all self-explanatory, wasn't it? So they're just different technical levels of cloud computing. All right, there's also some modals, not models. I haven't got that word misspelt. That's actually different modes of cloud computing. So again, we don't need to go through any of this stuff. There's what's called a private cloud, a community cloud, and you can look at the notes later and have a look at that, all that. Okay, depends on what sort of organisation you're in. Are you in a big organisation? It's your own little small business. Okay, so that's really exciting talking about these four things. But so we'll move on. Okay, to understand it a bit better, let's have a look at the old days. In the old days, we used to have our old computers like this, stuck in the office, and it's called a peer-to-peer network. Up the top here, peer-to-peer, which means this computer is no more important than that one, and no less important than this one. And they're all connected by those old black cables, and we typically have all our data, docs and email and programs and so on, all on each particular computer on the old PCs I've got there. Okay, so this computer would have its own data and it wouldn't be necessarily the same as that one. So a lot of hassle trying to manage it. Okay, then we move on to what they call a client-server network. So most of us may have this with our businesses. So you've got your computers here and the big one and the laptop as well with data and all that initially. But now we've got, well not now, we've had it for a long time, haven't we? We've got our own little server which sits in the corner of the office and no one's allowed to touch it. And we've now moved all of the stuff to there. So it's all centralised, and each computer loads up the same templates, loads up the same business file, accounting file, whatever it might be. Okay, and very difficult in that aspect to have all these other mobile devices connected in. Okay, you've got to set them up and so on. If you've got your own server in your own office. Okay. Cloud computing, now there's the same thing as before, but cloud computing moved all that into the outside. So we're outside our office now, and we've gotten rid of the server. And minimum, if you want to have a server in your office and you've got 4 or 5 computers and it's handling everything, minimum 10, 15 grand every 3 years. Okay, write that down. 10, 15 grand for just one computer to act as a server, and that's all on your own premises, and you've got the people that come in and the IT people to fix it up and all the rest of it. Okay. So what they've done is they said, well, let's go outside. Let's go to these great... That's an actual photograph of 2 guys walking past part of data centres up there in Venezuela or Budapest. You wouldn't know half the time. So they're walking through their big servers, and that's up in the cloud because we don't know where it is. And all our data, documents and email are stored on there, and all our devices now can access those just through the browser. Basically through the browser, and because it's through the browser, all these other ones, all these other peripherals and mobile devices are a bit easier to get to that data and documents and so on. Okay. The other thing too is that the programs now, I'll just put that back. We used to still have our programs stored on each device or computer in the office, but now we can move the programs up onto the cloud as well, like the banking program and the Gmail program as well. Okay, but now it's being extended to accounts and customer management and all those sorts of things. Okay, so the programs are up there as well. All right, and that's the big thing. Okay, we've got the programs running up there now. We don't have to install stuff. I'm not saying this is an advantage or not, but we don't have to install programs on our computer, get the latest version and pay for it again. We just need the thing to turn on, and away we go. Okay. Sometimes you can bring back your server, so you can still have a smaller server in your office, and it sort of talks to the cloud, and all the other things talk to there as well. So you can have a sort of a hybrid mix of cloud computing, but your own little server in your office as well. Okay. So with the cloud computing, what can we do? What are the main uses? Just from a generic point of view. Well, here's the office here, and we're off on the road as well. Okay, here's my staff back at the office, and I've got my mobile workforce there, and we've got the cloud up there integrating and synchronising everything. And with the iPad, we can create some documents, or do some data, or fill in some forms. I'll show you that in a sec. Okay, I've got a dummy sort of form on the iPad, and we can see it synchronising with the laptop here. I'll do that in a sec, and we can go the other way as well. So typically we can create a document. So I can create a document here, a draft document, a draft letter, invoice, fill in a form, whatever it might be, and it goes across to the PC laptop here because it's all synchronised automatically. We don't have to worry about, oh, is it all there? It's all there, it's already been set up. Okay, and we can finish the document back at work. okay, and obviously go back and forth, back and forth. So everything's synchronised because it's all stored up here. Okay, you can also fill in forms, as I said, and collect the data and create invoices, do your accounting, and finalise it there as well. All right, so that's the sort of overall generic picture about why. So that's one of the big issues to think about as to whether it would be relevant for our business or your business. Have you got people on the road? And do they have to come back and manually handwrite or enter those purchase orders or customer orders, and it takes time and double entry and all the rest of it. So, whereas everything can be updated automatically. That's one thing we'll come back to as well. Okay, now just quickly, a lot of people are getting, especially the people this morning with the webinar that I did on accounting, they're getting confused with cloud and data in the cloud and program in the cloud and so on. So just very quickly, if we're looking at something like MYOB, the old or even still, what you can have is the program and the data on your computer. So P and D for program and data, they're both on your computer, okay, in the office, on the laptop, and that's all you need. If you're just a little corner store or you've got a nice little retreat out at Tabletop Mountain, whatever, and the internet's not real good out there anyway, okay, so we can have all the stuff on our computer, okay. We can also, on the premise, on our own server, we can have our 3 different computers. Okay, we've got our program still installed. Okay, this is what you can do with MYOB and QuickBooks and so on. Each computer that uses the program must have the program installed on the computer. Okay, and the server has the data. Okay, so that's been around for years. So, and then they can all talk to each other. So everything's synchronised. This is in our office. Okay, specifically MYOB gives you the option of going a little bit cloud as far as the data is concerned only. So the same thing, I've got the program installed on each computer, laptop, whatever it might be in the office, and just the program, P for program. And in the cloud there, hosted by MYOB, is your altogether data file. Okay, D for data. Okay, and it all talks to each other. Okay, and thank goodness they give us the option of, okay, do you want it now in the cloud this week, or do you want it back on your office computer for next week because the internet's down for a few days. So you can go back and forth, so everything's synchronised. Okay, only though for that particular version of the program you've got installed. So you must have the same version installed, and you can't just use, I'll get my iPad now and access that. Well, no, you can't. Okay. But if we go the full hog again, so there's all our computers, and we've got up in the cloud, we can have the program and the data. So there's a screenshot of Xero. I'll show you very soon. And that's the program and the data to do our accounts and our invoicing and so on. So you might have heard of Xero before. Our computers are down here, but also I can have the iPad. So program and data are up here, and they all talk to each other, and there's the iPad can talk to it as well, as I'll show you in a sec. All right, specific examples and uses. Now, very important this next little bit, because after this next little bit I'll show you some live demo, okay, hopefully with the beauty of live television. We're not going to have any problems, so we'll see. But here's a real sort of overall picture, big picture of what can you do with cloud computing. Is there a hierarchy of things? Well, yes, there is, and we're going to start from the bottom and work our way up. Right down the bottom, as I said, most of us have probably been doing this anyway for a long time. Managing your banking and email, so if you've got Gmail or Hotmail, whatever it is, even with your Microsoft Office stuff, that can all be so-called in the cloud. Okay, and banking, you've got online banking, and as I'll show you very soon, and as you might know, you can have live feeds of your bank statements into your MYOB, QuickBooks, Xero, whatever it might be. Okay, so that's very basic. It's just the data on there. We're just using a browser, and we're not doing too much. Okay, just keep in mind too that one of the arguments they'll use for cloud computing is, well, you do your banking, don't you, online, and you trust the banks, don't you? Well, more or less. Okay, but do you back up your banking? Do you back up your transactions? You can download a statement if you wanted to keep it that way. Okay, so there. Okay, well, what's the difference with the other stuff that you might have up in the cloud than the fact you can't back up? Okay, well, there's a big difference as far as I'm concerned. Here's the counter argument. Counter argument is, well, if the bank loses my money because they've had a huge crash, they can just easily replace it, can't they? They get the money from somewhere else because money's money. But if Xero, for example, has a huge earthquake over in Budapest, wherever they are, and lose all our data, well, they can't easily replace the data because it's specific data and whatever it might be. Okay, so they guarantee that it's all defence, national security, defence security, James Bond type level of security, and so on. And they move the data all over the place. So it could be in Budapest 1 minute and Venezuela the next, but we don't need to know about that. Okay, coming up the ranks very quickly. The next thing, if you like, next level up as far as involvement is concerned is a lot of us are using social media. We've got our own website, which is probably not being backed up, hosted by whoever. Okay, so your website, Facebook, Twitter, and all the rest of it. And a lot of it's very important information, intellectual property and so on, being stored on or through Facebook and so on. All right. Coming up a bit further, we can store files. It's not a safe way to store files. A lot of you would be using things like Dropbox and Google Drive, using it like a portable or electronic online USB drive. Okay, so I can upload very quickly to this thing called Dropbox. It's just like becomes another drive on the computer, as I'll show you. Okay, and you can click and drag and move things around. All right, and then I can, if I'm on the road, I can quickly get them down, or my team on the road can quickly download that product data sheet or the customer form to fill in, whatever it might be. Okay, so that's probably one of the basic ways of using it. Almost could be right down the bottom here. So Dropbox, Google Drive, Microsoft OneDrive, FileShare, they're all just different examples of the same thing. Next, coming up, you can create and share documents. Again, I mentioned before, you can use something like Google Docs to create or have a product data sheet that you can type in and change and so on. I'll show you that in a sec. And there's other examples. SlideShare, Picasa with photos. Okay, you can have your own photo albums. That's up in the cloud as well. Coming up a bit, obviously, things like managing your finances. There's Xero, MyOb, FreshBooks, QuickBooks, NetSuite, a few others as well. So it's totally online with some of those examples. Again, you don't have the program, you can't back it up. It's just through the browser and it's up there, and you can do pretty much what you need to do with managing your accounts. Going further, Salesforce, Microsoft CRM. So managing your sales, managing marketing, your customer database, history of sales, what they call the sales pipeline. So you've got a history and what's coming up next. That's all can be done through a browser again. So as you might know, CRM, customer relationship management, just better than a database, better than a contact management system. Can manage all your marketing, your campaigns and emails and so on. That again can be done all through the browser. Maximizer. Xero has a lot of add-ons as well. And right at the top of the tree is the whole lot. Managing the whole organisation through the cloud. That's why I'm not going to walk around too much. Through the cloud, integrate your systems, and what it does is, this is one big advantage where you're minimising double entry of data. Okay, I don't have to put it into my new customer, it doesn't have to go into my database, then I've got to put them into MyOb or QuickBooks, then it comes out of the website because I'm tracking their visits to the website and so on. So that's a big issue to think about. Okay, and as soon as we start talking to someone who's thinking about this, they start nodding their heads. And they say, yeah, we're double entering, we're triple entering, and that's errors, that's time wasted, and we're losing time, money as well. We'll come back to that. And all those going up the tree, they can be, you can start at any particular level. Okay, typical cost, not going to go through this. This is just, someone always wants to know about costings. Okay, so like I said, it's typically so much per month. Xero, for example, is $60 a month, and they all range fairly simply. These things called Dropbox I mentioned before on Google Drive, they're all free. Okay, they give you a taste of what you want to do, and if you want to go a bit further with bigger business type features, then you'll pay $5 per user per month, whatever it might be. But I've been using it free for the last 5-6 years, so you don't have to pay much. Okay, a bit of a demo. So Dropbox and Google Drive we'll have a quick look at. So hopefully you can see that. All right, so this is the iPad going, and I can go into my iPad and it's already been set up. Okay, I'm not going to show you how do you get that set up? It's just automatic. Once it's set up, it's automatic. So I can go into tapping here and have a look at cloud drives. So I've got a little group there on the iPad called cloud drives. There's Google Drive, Dropbox and so on. And if I just go to Dropbox, I can see all my folders, just like on your desktop or whatever it might be. Okay, go back to there. Okay, PDF forms, and I'll go to all the folders I've got. So there's under A for accounts and camera uploads and course presentations and so on. We do a lot of training on the road, travelling around and so on, and things like course sample files. I don't want to have to put them on a USB drive. I can just go off the iPad or the laptop and go into here, course sample files, and there's my files. Okay, now they are synchronised with the iPad, but it's also on the desktop, and I'll show you that in a sec. Okay, that's just Dropbox. Dropbox is just a file storage sort of package. All right, I'll come back and have a look at that in a sec. All right, let's go straight into Google Drive. Now, Google Drive is similar, but it gives you free documents to play with. So in a similar way, I've got folders here, but with Google Drive, I can open up things, and I can have a look at. I can create a new document. So at the top there, and I haven't got any other files there. You can see files at the bottom. Okay, I've got Catherine's detailed budget, Michelle's detailed budget, my two beautiful daughters. Okay, and I said I'm going to send you a budget and you can share it and so on. So, but I'm going to hit the plus sign, top right-hand corner, and I want a new document. New document. I'll just say test document or test, and go create, and it comes up with the basic word processor. So I could be on the road and I could open up a document already there. I could be on the road and up comes, this is a document. Something for the customer, whatever it might be, and you can double tap and put bold and whatever it might be, and okay, and zoom in so you can see it. Okay, and that's my test document. Right, I'm done now. You can see across the top, bold, italics, and the usual things. Okay, I can also, as some of you should know, with the iPad, I can also tap bottom left and talk into it. This is a test document I am typing up, but I can't be bothered typing it up. That's not too bad. This is a test document. So I did it. Okay, good. The marvels of technology. So I go done, that's finished, and close that. All right, and there's test document, bottom right-hand corner there. All right, no wires. It's all, nothing up the sleeve. But I'll show you off the laptop in a sec. That's all there. What I can also do with my laptop, or sorry, my iPad, is I can go in. I'm going to go into a PDF, and I mentioned this before. A good one's PDF Expert, and I'm going to open up the information form. So I'm at the client's office, and I open up the form, and I say, right, name is Barney. I won't type all this in, won't fill it all in. Barney Rubble. So we can make up forms quite easily. These are just Acrobat PDF forms. He lives in Dean Street. Okay, I've got the town there. I can hit the drop down and go Wagga Wagga, puts in the postcode, and I just won't do this like that. So I can go tick on here, and I'm going to see it on my laptop in a sec. I'll go pricing, do like that, and come down here. There's normal PDF. I can go tap on here on that little light blue thing there. Take a photo. Yep, okay, let's take a nice photo of everybody. Oh, gee, Mark, thanks very much. Use that photo, and low quality, that'll do. Sign and so I'm finished. Ready to
that document that you're using there, you created that, or that's a...
I created it. I created on the desktop. I've started off with Acrobat Writer, okay, which is not cheap, and I can create forms, PDF forms, starting with a Word template, for example, with the logo and all that, and the base information, and away we go. Okay, information record, copy. I'll just go back to here. I'll call this test file, or test, and I want you to see it, test form. I want you to see it on the laptop when it comes out. Okay, now that I've saved it, I go top right hand corner. As you know, with the iPad, we go, I want to share that. Let's open it in, stick it up on Dropbox. Okay, let's put it in Dropbox. Obviously, because of time constraints, people, we're just going through this pretty quickly. Completed forms. It's in a folder called Completed Forms, already on my Dropbox. I'll just go save that. Okay, and it's uploading test form. It's in the completed forms thing, isn't it? People start to think, yeah, what's one of the main issues, Mark, about should I get onto cloud computing for my business? What's one of the main issues? Well, there's one there. Okay, and it's uploading, and I don't think it's that big. That's why I went low quality with the photograph. So that's a big issue as far as the internet. It's got to be on, obviously. It's got to be fast and reliable, those three things. Okay, if I go back to the, well, that's the Dropbox. Okay, test form added. Now that's my laptop saying straight away the test form's been added through the Dropbox into here, so we'll open that up in a sec. Just quickly, we'll go into Xero. Good example of cloud computing in a very typical sort of cloud when the thing wants to behave itself. Okay, it's going to log in. I'll just quickly do an invoice. I'm just in the basic demo company there, and I can go invoices down the bottom. We'll get rid of that. Yes, I know. Okay, and just do an invoice. So we'll see how the usual thing comes up. I have got a sort of detailed list of what you can do, what you can't do with things like Xero. Where's it deficient, where's it not? So you can ask me about that a little bit later on. Top right hand corner is a new invoice. I'll just put in a mad invoice here, and I'll say, right, Slug and Lettuce, they're a good company. Slug and Lettuce, and there they are, infantry. So again, I could be on the road, I could be at a client's GB. I'm going to sell them some golf balls. Okay, so there's a golf ball. This is just the sample dummy company. Okay, and $5.60. No, a bit of a price rise today. $60,000 for a golf ball. Okay, that's done. All right, and we can see the thing there, and we can go top right hand corner. Again, the share button. Okay, I can approve it and email it off there and then. I'll just go approve. And Slug and Lettuce, the 9th of July, $60,000. And, well, I didn't pick up SL. So I just created a new customer then called SL, because I'm getting too excited and not typing stuff in properly, as I tend to do. Okay, all right, so that's it for the iPad. I'm sick of that, so we'll come out of that. We'll exit out of that because it will definitely have a bit of a crash, and we'll go back to our desktop. And if I go into my browser, now I don't need to go into the browser because there's a desktop version of all these things, Google Drive, Dropbox. You don't have to go through the browser. So if I go to Dropbox, there's my forms up here, PDF forms, hopefully in the blink of an eye. Results, completed forms. There's the test form I just did. Okay, and I can open that up and we'll see your lovely faces in the photograph. There's Barney Rubble, and scrolling down, and hopefully, okay, there it is. So, as I said, nothing up the sleeve. So someone back at the office can pick up, oh yeah, there's a form from Mark, and the way this PDF works, I click a button, which I won't show you now, click a button, that extracts the data automatically out of this form, sticks it in the spreadsheet, and it adds on the other 10, 15, 20 forms that have been filled in for the other customers, just adds to that same spreadsheet. You've got a history of the data that was filled in with that form. Okay, all works automatically. Nothing to do with cloud, just to do with the Acrobat PDF side of things. Instead of going to the browser, I can look at Google Drive here, and straight away there's test document. Michelle detailed budget, I can see the changes that she's done there too. So if I double click that in my desktop, okay, it's going to go to Google Drive anyway, and in a blink of an eye, doesn't it? So that'll start up the browser and go into, without me hopefully having to log in. So it'll come up and, yeah, just in your own time. Web page is not available. Okay, that's very good. Web page. We'll just try and go into. There it is. There. You had to go reload. Just if it doesn't work the first time, just do exactly the same thing the second and third time, and it'll work. Okay, nothing's any different. So there it is. There, test document. And in the full-blown browser version of Google Docs, you've got pretty much what you can do in Word: format tools, put in tables and all the rest of it, and it says trying to connect. Yes, I know, you're having a hissy fit, aren't you? Okay, we'll go back to here or go straight to Google Drive. I'll just go into here to show you that hopefully just quickly, this is Xero, which is really, out of all the people this morning, about 100 people on the webinar this morning, about 8% of them were using Xero at the moment. Okay, so this is how it looks, and this is one of those examples where there's no desktop version of Xero. You can't go file backup. in a way that could be a big advantage, because that's all they're focusing on. All they do is concentrate on the cloud, the online stuff. If I go into sales, hopefully that one there with the SL is there. Across the top there you can see accounts and payroll, reports. Advisor means the accountant is the advisor. He can or she can log in and say, right, I want to do my management reporting, and there's none of this. I've got to back up my data file, send it to the accountant. I can't do anything for a couple of days now because they've got to do their bits and pieces, and I can't do any invoicing. Okay, so there's none of that anymore with something like this, because it's all up there and it's all synchronised, and obviously we can all get into it and do our own thing. Okay, it's having a hissy fit here. There it is there. So SL, I didn't type it in properly, and $66,000. So it's updated straight away. You can add notes and do live bank feeds and all the rest of it. Just as an example of a live bank feed, anybody seen this before, Xero, or seen live bank feeds? Yep, okay. You can create rules. You can say, right, if the transaction's got the word bank fee in there, make a transaction for me, create it automatically with that amount, whatever it is, and I'll reconcile it at the same time. Okay, and a lot of people just shut their eyes in. What was that? What was that again? Okay, so if I go into reconcile items here, all right, so none of this anymore, getting a paper-based, getting all excited when the mail comes in and you open up the letter and it's got the paper-based bank statement in there. Then you get your pencil out, you get your pencil, you get your file, and you get a glass of red wine and start to manage do your bank reconciliation. So here it's got, I think I did it this morning. I've actually cleared it all through. All right, so here's one where it's okay, it's matched. That's the live bank feed on the left. So all the transactions coming on my bank every night comes in, gets refreshed, and on the right-hand side are the Xero transactions. There's nothing there, basically, because we don't have to do it anymore. We don't have to do it manually each time. We can get Xero to put that in for us. So it's got a bank fee. It's remembered a bank fee in this case from before. So, Mark, would you like me to put it in for you? Yes, okay. So enter that transaction and tick it as being reconciled. So you're reconciling as you go. Okay, and the blink of an eye goes green and disappears, hopefully. There it is there. With create a rule, I won't do it now, but create a rule says something like, if it comes in, if the transaction has something like Cooper Street Bakery in it, then create a new transaction called Cooper Street Bakery, whatever the amount is, and it's coded to this particular account in the chart of accounts, and you do it for me. Okay? And where it's really powerful is you can have it split. You can have a 20%, 80% breakdown from the one amount. Paper dockets, I can go. Yeah, if someone emails me a bill, or I've got the paper-based bill there, I can go into here and I can say, right, I want a new bill. And the usual thing, I can have like a template, which makes it easier to fill in the particular thing. Okay, but with most of the transactions, okay, there will be, if it comes up, it'll be great. Okay, with most of the transaction screens in Xero, there's a little icon, a little document icon. Looks like a little piece of paper icon. You click that and you can upload the scanned bill or the scanned receipt. Direct. But here is the icon there saying, okay, if you want to, you can upload the scanned. If you scan that bill and stick it up there, then you can have it attached to the bill. There is a service with Xero called Shoebox or Cash Receipts. You just post them all your receipts and all your bills, and they'll do it all for you, like an electronic bookkeeping up in the cloud there. So it's. If you scan it, does it pull the data around? No, not if you do it. No. You'd have to get another add-on. Yeah. Okay. Xero has a unique feature where you can have what's called the Xero number, your unique Xero user number. You give that to somebody else who's got Xero, and they just send their bill to your Xero number, and it comes in here automatically. And then you've got to approve it. Okay, it doesn't just willy-nilly go in because, free for all. But they're doing the bookkeeping for you, the supplier. Same thing with customers as well. Okay, for that. Okay, so well, just quickly, MYOB has the same sort of things. Now, don't forget, MYOB gives you the option of having a data file up in the cloud or on your computer. But this is not the live, this is not the online version. MyHub just released an online version, Live Essentials, like about a few months ago, end of last year I think, and they're just starting to sort of pick up and improve a little bit. Nowhere near the functionality, really. So, okay, so whether you've got it, the data file stored on your computers or up in the cloud there, it's going to look like this. Don't forget, this is not through the browser. This is not online. This is using it off the computer. But you can still go banking and bank feeds. All right, so you can still have a connection to your bank. You have to have connection to the internet, obviously. Similar thing to Xero. You've got the left-hand side, the bank feed, the bank statement, and your transactions, and you can do a similar sort of thing. Okay. So some people, the big issue with a lot of people is that, no, look, I don't like this cloud thing. I can't sleep at night, and I don't know where it is, and so on. So if that's the case, then well, you stick with something like what you've been using, MyHub or QuickBooks or whatever it might be. Very quickly, just winding off, some of these advantages and disadvantages of the cloud. Now, very obvious what some of these things are. There's lower ownership in a lot of cases. You don't have to have a $15,000 server. All this is in the handout. Easier scalability. Advanced things can be added later. That's one big issue. I don't know if my business is going to be bigger in years to come or not. Can this thing scale with me? Can I add more and more features on? Okay, I've had lots of clients in the last 12 months say, oh, look, QuickBooks is not doing what I want to do anymore because we've got 5 offices and lots of stock and MyHub's the same. So, well, you know, you have to start again almost. Okay, I'll go to the next, buy something different. Less infrastructure and so on. Mobility, that's a big advantage. Better use of personnel. They don't have to double entry their data. Information's easier, sharing. There is some familiarity. We've been cloud computing anyway, as I said. Better integration of all your systems. Less doubling up of data entry management, as I said. Okay, so they're the advantages. Disadvantages, we've already talked about. Internet speed, constant connection, security and confidentiality. I mean, how do we know? How do we trust these people up there? Dropbox and, you know, how do they, you know, gee, we're stretching the friendship, aren't we? Unpredicted hidden costs. Make sure you read the fine print. Well, gee, I thought you only wanted 5 invoices a month. So Xero can be only about $20 a month. Oh, that's cheaper. Yeah, but you only get 5 invoices a month. If that's all you do maximum, well, that's okay. But if you need to do a little bit more, 6, you've got to go to the next stage all of a sudden. So you've got to look at that. As Roger said, the service might go down. Okay, you might lose it. Backups, you can't get backups. How do I get, big question I had this morning, how do I import my old system, my old QuickBooks, all that history, into the new system? That's always an issue, changing back and forth. Okay? Extensive training might be required, which we can provide, by the way. And sometimes there's big barriers. Okay, well, I don't like resistance, and I don't want to change and all the rest of it. So there we go. Some questions for your accounting. Okay, this is out of this morning's webinar. For your accounting, what questions could you ask yourself? Has it got all the features I need? Will it be suitable? Can it be scaled up, as I said? Do I want to access it from anywhere? That's probably the first thing to work out. Do we want to access from home or on the road? If you just want to access your accounts from home as opposed to the office, you still don't need cloud stuff. You can get around that. Remote access to your computer at the office and so on. Okay, that's you don't need to go full-blown cloud, basically. If you've got a mobile workforce and different offices everywhere and so on, well then maybe look at it. What does the cost give us? Is it compatible with my other systems? All right, and the accountant. You know, we're just talking about the accounting software. Does your accountant know it? Okay, sometimes they come along and see us for training to work out what to do. Okay, general issues, is it relevant? Can old data be transferred? We said that. Speed and reliability, is that a case of yes or no? Will training be required? What are your long-term plans? Well, sometimes it's hard to work that out. Okay, I've got this vision, but you know, things might change with the business. So again, try and be flexible. Oh, by the way, if you don't like them, I don't like Xero anymore, I've been going with them for 6 months, what do I do? That's a big question to ask when you sign on. Can I have a trial version? Yeah, all of these you can. Okay, they all have about a 30-day trial, and I know someone I was speaking to yesterday, they had about 5 or 6 going. They had Xero going and QuickBooks Online and Intuit Online and MyHub Essential. Oh yeah, it's great. didn't do anything else with their lives, but they just, for a whole month, they got the feel for the thing. And that's the other thing too. How does it look to you? How does it feel? The idea of how you do an invoice or how you do a document or whatever it might be. Return on investment, and I like this one, could turn into cloud, probably, whatever, and a paradigm shift and so on. Many more things to worry about. Finally, people, the cloud, it won't go away. I mean, we might be indirectly forced into it because of costs and so on. Okay, Xero doesn't provide any desktop version. Not that they're the only, be all and end all, but Maya might go that way as well. It's cheaper for them to produce and charge you the same thing as before. It's cheaper for them to use cloud products, develop cloud products, rather than CDs and DVDs of software to install and whatever it might be. So it might be forced into it. It's not for all business. Okay. If someone said to me, "Okay, Mark, what do you reckon?" I'd say, "Well, yes and no. Depends. I've got 300 seconds to go," says Maria. Thank you. Weigh up your pros and cons. Please, please, please. Big thing. Forget about it, the whole lot. Okay? Having gone through the last 35, 40 minutes and given you all this information, forget about the whole thing. Forget it all and work out your particular needs and requirements and so on. Okay? Do you want to look at advanced reports, monitoring of your business? Well, yes, I do. Okay? Or, no, I don't. I'd rather go and play golf. That's like a paradigm shift. That's your approach. It's nothing to do with the features of the software. It's also how do you manage your accounts and your documents and all the other information in the business or workplace. Okay? Then we can say, oh, well, you need to look at this. I haven't got a mobile workforce. I've just got a little corner store. Okay? What do I do then? Well, no point going cloud. No point doing anything. But don't have a shoebox. 22% of the people this morning didn't have any software at all for accounting. Still using a shoebox or an Excel spreadsheet or something. Okay? A lot of these programs, by the way, just in case you ask me, can import sales off a spreadsheet. If you've got old data, customers and suppliers, obviously. But if you build your sales or invoices line by line, row by row in a spreadsheet, you can actually import those into any sort of program these days. It doesn't have to be cloud. All right? And big thing, ask reputable providers. Even talk to others in your industry group. Bring up somebody who does exactly the same thing as you in your business, who's not a competitor in Perth, and ring them up and say, well, what are you guys using? Is it an off-the-shelf system? Is it just something that's been customised? And so on. Get some ideas and you might be able to collaborate back and forth. Okay, well, just a bit of, what's this bloke doing? He's got the balloon there and it's about to storm. Yes, Mr. Jones, I'm uploading the last of the files now. Okay, that's supposed to be pretty funny, but obviously it wasn't. And this one over here, Glassenberg, he's always good. Cloud computing is cool, but every time it rains, I lose my data, which is probably what's happening with the pouring rain today as well. Losing the... Okay, just quickly, you can have a look at this in the notes. Results time. What's your time frame for doing all this? Well, we're using it now. 45%. These are small to medium-sized businesses. Are using 45% of them are using cloud computing, one form or another. Okay, 13% and so on. So you can have a look at that. 8% no intention at all. Okay, users. Okay, we talked about these. Application hosting, data storage. Yeah, a lot of documents, files online. Okay, CRM I mentioned, email. We're all doing that. A lot of us, and so on. But you can. That just sort of reinforces what we've been saying, as well, and their benefits. You can see the benefits on the left-hand side. We've talked about that. Okay, but that's got to be outweighed or outweigh. Those benefits must outweigh all this stuff. Okay, security issues. So this is from the survey. Security issues, legal issues. Is it compliant? Are you being compliant by using something like that that hasn't been approved by the government regulation body, whatever it is? So that's another thing. And so on, vendor lock-in or whatever it might be. Okay, thank you. And by all means, if you've got any questions, we have a lot of people, well, not a lot, because I wouldn't be making any money, but a lot of people come in and say, look, you got spare 15, 20 minutes, Mark? I said, yeah, no problem. And they sit down with me, and because they know what to do when they come in. And okay, well, we've worked this out. What do you think? So, oh, well, go and talk to these people, or go down to Officeworks and buy this program and do this and do that, or see Jeff or whatever, or go and see all these other people who can set it up for you, and then hopefully they come back and do some training with us, because all these things we run courses in. short courses, one-day courses, group courses. We can do it on-site, one-on-one in your business, specific training with a training manual, or do the online training as well. Okay? So there you go. Now, obviously, that was a very quick overall view, and a lot of people at the end of the thing this morning said, oh, what was all that again? And they said, thanks very much, you've given us a lot of work. Although they are aware of and they understand a little bit more about, you know, the idea of the cloud, and is the program in the cloud or just the data or this and that, and what things to think about for your own situation.